I can vividly recall the day that turned my life upside down. The details are etched in my memory, from the weather outside to the meal I had for dinner. It's strange how I never paid much attention to such trivial things before. My wife and I had been happily married for over 5 years, cherishing our carefree life without the burden of children. But as time went on, thoughts about starting a family began to creep into my mind. It wasn't something I pushed or pressured my wife about. I simply wanted to know her thoughts on the matter. Alenka had made her stance clear from the beginning. She didn't want children. At the time, I shared the same opinion. However, as I entered my 30s, the idea of continuing our lineage started to weigh on me. I didn't vocalize my desires forcefully, just casually wondered about it. "But we're living a wonderful life," Aliona would reply whenever I brought up the topic. I would walk up to her, plant a kiss on her lips and say, "I just want to know what our lives could be like with or without kids in the future. I'll think about it, but not right now. Let's just enjoy each other," she assured me. That answer was enough to satisfy me, so I let the matter rest. It was an unusually warm October day when our lives took an unexpected turn. Aliona was late for work, and I hastily prepared a simple dinner of potatoes and chicken, managing to finish my meal and unwind in front of the TV. As the clock passed 8 in the evening, worry started to gnaw at me. Aliona's phone was switched off, initially leading me to believe it had run out of battery. But as time ticked by and she still hadn't returned home, the unease grew within me. Finally, the key turned in the lock, and I was on the verge of voicing my discontent when the sight before me silenced my words. A split lip, a swollen cheek, torn tights, and tears streaming down her face. I rushed to her side, desperate to understand what had happened and pushing away the terrifying thoughts that threatened to consume me. Alenka was sobbing inconsolably, and I struggled to find the right words as I checked her for any serious injuries, my hands scanning her from head to toe. At first glance, I couldn't see any major harm, just the bruises and contusions that marred her once flawless skin. I handed her a glass of cognac and gently encouraged her to drink it, hoping it would help calm her down. As she began to relax, I pressed her for more details. Alina struggled to speak, recounting how she had been attacked and her bag stolen. I tried to fight back, but she trailed off, her voice filled with pain and frustration. My wife suddenly erupted with anger, yelling at me, "They didn't do anything else to you. And you don't think that's enough?" I didn't argue with her. Instead, I held her tightly, trying to provide comfort and support. In my mind, I started to formulate a plan of action. Taking a deep breath, I forced myself to ask the difficult question, "Were you raped?" It pained me to see her nod in confirmation, knowing that she would have to endure more anguish because of this horrific ordeal. Relief washed over me as I realized that justice would prevail, and those responsible for this heinous act would not go unpunished. "The truth will come to light. We will get through this," I assured her. She shook her head, indicating she didn't know the identity of her attacker. "Go," I insisted. "We need to get you to the trauma center." Ignoring her feeble protests, I accompanied her to the hospital, grateful that she had left behind the important documents at home instead of in her stolen bag. Once there, she underwent a medical examination, and I watched on, feeling a sense of detachment. Her eyes remained hidden, and her responses to the doctor's questions were strained, betraying the pain she was experiencing. Later, she gave a statement to the police, her testimony fragmented and confused. Initially, she had mentioned multiple attackers, but now she claimed it was only one person, admitting uncertainty about his appearance. The policeman's doubtful gaze met mine, filled with subtle accusation. I saw the suspicion forming in his mind that I may have been the perpetrator and had orchestrated this visit to deflect any suspicion. I didn't care about those thoughts in that moment. All I wanted was for things to go smoothly. But then something interesting happened. Alenka's bag was found in the bushes of a nearby house. The phones and money were still there, meaning nothing was stolen. This raised the question, why? It was then revealed that she wasn't coming from work, but from the other side of town in a taxi. Naturally, the taxi driver became a suspect and the search for him began. Throughout this whole time, Alyonka remained silent, refusing to answer any questions. It was at that moment I realized that the story wasn't as straightforward as it seemed. When the taxi driver informed me that he picked up my wife from a certain address in a distressed state, she finally confessed everything to me. She had been beaten by a lover she had met during a vacation a couple of months ago. She didn't know why he had become so aggressive that night. It was a minor issue that angered him. Frightened, she ran away and couldn't bring herself to admit it. So she made up this story and wanted to retract her statement. I sat there, feeling disgusting as those around me looked at me with a mix of sympathy and confusion. What had I missed? And why had she taken it this far instead of discussing it with me at home, avoiding this public humiliation? Our relationship came to an end with a divorce, a painful and tense process. Alina still had hopes that I would forgive her, but it never happened. The judge didn't give us any time to think and made an immediate decision. Dear friends, thank you for listening to our stories. Subscribe to the channel, put likes, and leave your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to press the bell not to miss new stories, which we try to publish every day. We also remind you that everyone can share unique stories from their life or the lives of friends, which can be sent to us by email, which is specified in the description of the video. Good luck to everyone and be happy.